Hello and welcome back to another hashtag Patchats. We've run the gamut of Pat content here on the Laugh at Pat page. We got to see really the only person who's qualified to interview me, interview me on the inaugural episode of Patchats. And then, I got your guys' feedback, the feedback from the fans. And, they said, hey, one Pat might be easier to focus on. Two Pats was great, but maybe one Pat to just, zero in on would be even more exciting. And so we got to see just like solo Pat do a hashtag Pat Chats. And so, I thought I'd maybe shake things up this episode, do things a little bit differently this time and be like, what if we had a little bit less Pat? I know it's not what the fans want, but maybe it's what the fans need. And so I was like, less Pat this time. And so I reached out to my childhood best friend, a guy by the name of Zach Hollowell, and I was like, hey, we've suffered through countless embarrassing moments in our childhood together. We've starred in elementary school plays together. We've played games of pickup football. I had to call your mom when you cracked your head open playing games of pickup football, which was terrifying for me. And, we've been through a lot together. He's truly my brother from another mother. And so I was like, hey, why don't you come on the show? Let me interview you. Zach is a wine industry. He works in the wine industry. And I think I said at the beginning of the show, he shepherded me and my palate from a lover of Boone's Farm and Slapbag to someone who loves small batch vineyard, coastal, cool climate Syrahs. He's helped me, identify my ideal wine, and we've crushed many a Milk Dud and Whopper together back in the day. So I thought it would be fun to have him be the first guest here on the hashtag Patchat series, the first guest here on the Laugh at Pat channel. And so I'm really excited to share this conversation with you guys, this interview. And, hopefully you guys can learn a little bit about wine and also still get your nice dose of Pat and a little bit of Zach. So, oh, hey there, pillow. That's fun. That's a fun little moment of improv. I'm going to yes and this pillow falling over and stand it back up and say, hey there, pillow friend. So that's, just some of my improv skills. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and let's get into this episode. You've taken me from a Franzia lover to a, small batch, coastal vineyard, cool climate Syrah lover, which is not, the basis of our friendship was like Milk Duds and Whoppers. So it's not what it
still is.
Still, I mean, that's still a big part of our friendship for sure. But so I was just, I thought like that maybe I could talk to you and you could help, other people like myself who aren't educated about wine to become like more of a wine snob. And I did also want to circle back and be like, is wine snob an offensive term in the wine industry?
Well,
did I just slur you?
So, you know what?
Oh God.
You'll be hearing from my agent.
Damn it. All right. My first big interview that I've scored with my childhood best friend. I can't even.
Kudos to
you. So wine snob is an offensive term. I'm gonna just cross that right out.
There's definitely people who are, and those people are the worst. So,
but like, are there people who like pride themselves on like, I'm a wine snob? Like,
I feel like those people who aren't. It's like those people who are like, I'm just like really into jazz, and you're like, no, you're not. Like, like I just love just chilling down. Just listen to it like a John Coltrane record. It's like you've done that once, and now you're a jazz snob. It's like that's kind of how it is.
It's funny you say that because it's like I actually do enjoy listening to jazz, but really what I enjoy about it is the idea that I'm listening to jazz.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I fall asleep in about 15 minutes. Like
Yeah,
I've only
yeah.
made it 5 songs into like Kinds of Blue or Shades of Blue, whatever that Miles Davis record is.
Yeah. Whatever that classic piece of
Yeah.
work is that
Yeah.
people are crazy for.
Whatever that real just monumental album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always love the idea of like I'm gonna pour myself just a couple fingers of scotch, get myself a book, and listen to some Miles Davis. And I mean that's a great way to go to bed. I don't need Tylenol PM anymore. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, that's like the old school Tylenol PM.
Yeah,
Is like you
yeah,
listen to Miles Davis and you
yeah.
have some scotch.
Or just like
Well, so
watch a documentary on BBC. When I was a kid.
yeah.
When I was a kid, right? Current day stuff is great. They're pumping out a lot of great material nowadays.
But so to get us back to wine, I wanted to start, like with the basics, basically. So, we have red wine, which I'm drinking right now,
Is that
and you have
has a kind of a darky sassafrasy hue to it? I think that might be mug root beer, if I'm not mistaken. Give it a little swirl. Can I see if there's any effervescence in there?
No, it's definitely not mug root beer. It's not mug root beer. He's
Stuart,
lying.
I'm blinding.
It's
I'm
Dad's.
blinding
It's
these
Dad's
fuckers.
root
Like,
beer.
no big deal right now. That's Stewart's orange label from a bottle. Yeah.
I'm getting an essence of like root, but also a little bit of beer from.
Yeah.
No, but so we have red wine and white wine, and my question to you is like, is there a difference?
I mean, first off, like I don't see color, so I mean I want to lead with that. But no, yeah, there definitely is a difference. I think white wine is generally a wine that like people drink.
Well, like, cause I mean, I don't want to like out you right now, but like, I originally started out into white wine, and you were like, "Come on, dude, you got to get into red wine." And then I like, got into red wine, and now you're like, red wine's so like you love like slutty red wines. That's like lame. I'm into crushable white wines now. Like I'm just trying to stay up. Like what's the like? I just want to know what am I supposed to like?
Me, you can't hold me down. I'm ever evolving. You know what I mean? It's a fluidity thing. It's a fluidity thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like when people start drinking beer and they drink like Coors Light and Keystone. Sometimes they keep drinking that stuff, which is fine.
Yeah, shout out to Keystone Light.
Yeah, and then I feel like you're in like college. You've had like, a couple Keystones. And you're like, all right, you know what? I actually just I like hanging out at kickbacks, and I just want to drink like a nice, like a real beer. I want a Blue Moon. Okay, like I'm an adult.
Blue Moon is the gateway real beer.
And then you start drinking, you're like, oh, that's not real good. It's actually the worst. That was actually worse than the Coors Light that I was drinking before.
There's a reason they sell that $5 a pitcher on Tuesday nights.
Yeah. Which tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's all these fluctuations, right? Like I feel like I did that with beer, and I was like, oh, I really like IPAs, and then now I'm just like, I just want like canned. Like I like cool brewery stuff. It's interesting and whatnot, but generally it's like give me Modelo, and I'm like pretty stoked. High Life in bottle. And,
High Life, the champagne of beers.
Yeah,
that's a laugh at Pat full endorsement is Miller High Life in a bottle. If you get it out of a can, it's trash, but in the bottle,
you got to connect there, right? You think they can come sponsor this?
I think that they probably. I'm trying to get yerba mate and Miller High Life in a bottle.
They're local.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm open to sponsorship. I have no sponsorship at this point. And I'm open to any sort of type of deal. If Spotify wants to buy my show, I am willing to sell.
That's not true. You have your first sponsor, which was Hank Halliwell's football team.
That's true.
Don't
special shout out to Hank Halliwell, the patriarch of the Halliwell family.
Fantasy legend.
Fantasy legend. So red wine and white wine, do they use different grapes? I feel like you've explained this to me before, and I don't is a white wine like a white grape and a red wine is a red grape? Like why are they different?
Yeah. I mean, it's all the juice is the same color, so like really the juice actually looks the same, but red wine is
also
red.
You've just hit on something that I love about the wine industry in general is that like when you guys make the like wine that you guys call it juice, which I don't know why, but I feel like that's hilarious and wonderful. Like this is a delightful juice.
Crushable juice.
Yeah, this is such good juice.
You would feel bad about like pounding a glass of wine, but you feel pretty good about pounding Oh, it's a Capri Sun? Yeah, that's
It's got
fine. Hands down.
antioxidants. It's like I
Uh,
do. It would be great if they came in like a like. Do they have wine juice boxes?
I mean, I think Franzia is just a big kid's juice
It's
box.
a giant.
They need a straw. That's what they're missing. I think someone actually needs to market that. They need to do the
That's
juice, the wine box, the juice box with the straw, and they can throw some orange slices on the side and kind of have like a little league soccer fun pack.
I'm with you. Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's the move. So okay, so but all the juice is the same color.
Yeah.
So then what makes something a white wine versus a red wine?
So the red wine gets the color from the skins. So it sits and like ferments in the skins. So the skins actually give it that pigment. That's why like rosé a lot of times.
And then the white wine they play with their shirt on.
I guess they would be the
It's
skins
like
if
a
they didn't have
skins
their
shirt
shirt off.
situation or
The skins in the shirts versus skins, they would be the skins. I think in this scenario, even though that's kind of counterproductive because the skins were given its color. So really a horrible analogy to
okay, yeah. We'll just we'll put a
you're gonna
pin in
delete
it.
this
We can
part. Okay, good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna edit this out for sure.
Hey, who's the editor? What do they call that?
The video editor?
The producer. Who produces this?
Oh, the producers. This is, I'll have to talk to my producer,
Yeah,
but whoever's producing this segment is not doing well.
I don't know who's it, but they're fucking dropping the ball. I can tell you
Yeah,
that much.
God. I mean, these questions. I mean, who came up with these questions? Like these.
I feel ambushed. I feel ambushed. If I'm being honest.
I'm sorry that I opened with a gotcha wine snob question. That was that
You throw
was.
to me.
My producer is gonna get in a lot of trouble about this. So the red wine sits in skins, and that's why it's red. And the white wine, they take the skin off, and that's why it's white.
Yeah, again, the grapes themselves are different too. So like the grapes on most white, all white wines generally are they can be gray, but but basically they're green, and then you have red wines that are green, they turn red, when they're sitting on the vine. So the color from the red pigment on the skins and the seeds and everything in there will basically give the red wine its color. There are some
So,
white
but they
wines that
are
they ferment on
different
the skins.
grapes.
What?
They are different grapes. The red wine, like white wine grapes, white wine grapes, and
Yeah, I
red
mean, there's
wine
all sorts of
grapes.
like different clones and
Now you used the word clones, which really piqued my interest because as a marijuana enthusiast,
yeah,
that's familiar to me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
So there's just one. I was trying to think of a weed strain, and I honestly couldn't outside of
Yeah.
Pineapple Express, and I just didn't want to make that connection. So
Well, since we already touched on the Franzia thing, I want to move on to my next question. I'm really hoping my producer didn't fuck this one up. But I'm just wondering, is it ever acceptable to drink wine from a box? Like, is there a situation
I
where
would say
it's
if the bottles of wine are in a box and you take that bottle of wine from the box, like, or if
then
you're just
it's
like stuck in a box, like if you're living, in your mom's converted garage, that's kind of a box. Like I think it would be okay to drink wine in
I feel
in
attacked.
that
Okay,
scenario.
I feel attacked right now.
I'm just, hardball, crossfire.
Um, okay, so wine bottles that are in a box. Okay,
No, I think
but
it's fine. I mean, all jokes aside, yeah, it's not my kind of thing. I don't think it's very good.
But like, are there any good like boxed wine? Because like, I remember one time I met a guy whose parents had like a winery. I don't know if it was good wine or not because this was back when I was still drinking like Boone's Farm.
Yeah,
But the he was saying that like, oh, like twist cap wine is just as good as like cork bottle wine.
yeah.
And so I'm like, is there good wine that's in boxes that's like not Franzia, for example?
There probably is. There's a lot of people now that are looking for alternative packaging. So there's a lot of canned wine, which like it's not my kind of thing, but like there's some good stuff people
Seems
making
like a
in
can.
cans.
Like, I mean, if High Life can't survive the can, how is wine
I
gonna?
know that's the litmus test for sure. But uh, but yeah, like some producers have been doing that, and that's become more of a thing because like everyone's into like low ABV stuff now, and like just getting one
Wait, low
portion,
what now?
like low alcohol stuff.
Oh, right, more crushable.
Yeah, all these based, I think a lot of like the White Claw, basically like people want
Oh,
that effect. Like low alcohol, it's like there's like one portion and I can have 20 of that one portion instead of just having a whole bottle of wine. Makes it feel different, I guess. But I think people are trying to look for how to market to like millennials and whatnot. And people, you can take a can of wine, with you much easier than you can a bottle of wine. Like it's kind of hard to drink like a bottle of wine at a street, like in like a tailgate, or somewhere where like
Yeah.
public drinking is frowned upon but still accepted. So I think they're trying to find ways to access that, and I think those wines are just kind of like in a different category. It's like beer again. It's like there's like canned light cheap beers that I really like, but they're kind of in a different category than like real like craft quote unquote breweries that like make beers that are a little more interesting and kind of meant to be in a different style. So I think that wine kind of has those several tiers. Box wine being like really one far end of it.
That's yeah.
But I think that
Okay.
there's probably going to be, especially in the future, a lot of like new developments in wine packaging, and it's not necessarily going to be super indicative or I guess indicative.
It's just going to be like
quality.
it's going to be continue to evolve.
Yeah. But I think always like even with screw caps, I think you see screw caps depending on the quality of them can be like cheaper, it can be easier, and they seem more like we screwed up. It's super easy. So I think a lot of wineries and a lot of places have cheaper bottles and screw caps, but there's also a lot of really, really high end wines that are made in screw caps because like there's not a lot of spoil. There's a lot of like you don't have as many spoilage issues, and there's a lot of other cool factors that come from it. So there's actually some really high end wines that are in screw caps.
Now,
just not as like kind of romantic, I think, as it's like listening to an album like on Spotify versus like when you listen to a vinyl of like some old album. You're like, oh, it just kind of sounds.
You mean like a Miles Davis album?
I mean, listen. Either way, I'm going to sleep, which is great.
either way, it's night sleep tight.
With a record, you can pull it out and read the liner notes. You know what I mean? It's like, if I hadn't sold my records in college, I mean, I'd be rich right now.
Yeah, look, I mean, liner notes are what I live for, really, to be honest. It's like, are you even listening to music if you're not reading the liner notes?
No.
Yeah.
Where's that in Spotify? Once Spotify gets on as a sponsor, we're going to be talking about this.
Exactly. Spotify, listen up. We need the liner notes. Now, okay, I'm going to move on from the screw top thing. But so here's my next question for you. So, in this hypothetical situation, I'm dating someone who is not in the room right now, and her family. She's in the room. She gave me a look when I said I'm dating someone. She wrote these questions. It's her fault.
God, damn it, Anya.
Damn it, Anya.
No, we're sending you back to Germany.
Yeah. But so in this hypothetical situation, this is where I got the idea to like be like, oh, let's talk about wine for this first episode, because Zach's gonna be a recurring guest on the show. We have holiday candy to talk about. We have countless painful memories to dive into, drill down into. Just fun stuff.
I'm jumping in and swooping in the Toy Story 2 versus Toy Story 3 episode.
No spoilers, okay? That's a Laugh at Pat exclusive. That's coming later. We're gonna have the Toy Story debate.
I'm swooping in. I've already set myself up for that.
Maybe it could be like a 3-box, on the political debate shows,
like a pardon the interruption sort of scenario.
Yes, exactly. So in this hypothetical situation, I'm dating a girl, and her parents are like big wine people, and I'm going to dinner at her house, and I want to like sound like I'm not totally dumb about wine, but I am totally dumb about wine. Like, are there any things that I can say? Like I'm always like, obviously you want to smell it. I feel like the swirl is a big part of looking like you know a little bit about wine.
100%. You just gotta, all you gotta do is swirl. Like, I mean, like you were drinking that root beer earlier, and you could have just swirled that bad boy, and it would have looked way more professional. I wouldn't even notice the color.
That's true. That's my honestly unprofessional on my part that I didn't.
I don't have any wine in here because I feel like it was a little like too on the nose to like be drinking a lot of wine while talking about it. But yeah, it's just you just kind of the casual swirl. You know what I mean? It's just like, you just gotta
the casual swirl adds a lot.
Second nature now. Like I'll be drinking wine. I'll just be like.
But I could say something like, "Oh wow, this is like really like I feel like mentioning my palate is important. I don't know. The stereotypical things I think about are like, oh, this is like woody, or this is. I don't know. I feel like I never find quite the right words. Are there any buzzwords? I'm saying, for people who are not wine.
You got to say things like elegance a lot. Like
elegance.
Things that people aren't really going to be able to say no, because like no one really knows what it means. You got to say elegance. You got to say, oh, this wine's got like a real supple palate to it, and then it's like
supple palate. What about? I feel like complex, like that one to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want to watch it with some of those. I think you want to be like a little bit just more creative with it. Just be like, oh, this wine really reminds me of, walking around in the sequoias, out in the Marin redwoods, redwoods. And they're gonna be like, and they're from like, maybe I don't know where they're from, but you just
Let's say
you
they're
gotta
from Napa,
you
you
gotta
know.
use to just guide in other conversations. No, I mean ultimately like people all taste like different things and um, are all gonna you know uh, basically have different descriptors. So I would just say just be like confident in
Okay,
whatever
so
you
I
say.
this isn't a question I had written down, but it just occurred to me, and I don't want to pull a Pete Holmes and like really toot my own horn on my own show right now, but I'm so excited to ask this. But like, what was you used to work in a wine tasting room, so you
Yeah.
saw a lot of people drinking wine. You saw a lot of people flexing about drinking wine. What was like the most absurd thing that someone ever said when they tasted like a wine? Do you have one that sticks out in
Uh,
memory?
yeah, yeah. And, I'm glad I don't deal with that anymore. I remember someone said the wine tasted like a freshly worn saddle. It was sun dried. Sorry, the first part I missed the first part. The prefix was like a sun. It was like a sun dried worn saddle. I think it was fresh, not fresh. It was a sun dried worn saddle, and I was like, first off, I want to know what just a regular saddle tastes like, but
Yeah, yeah.
sun dried. I mean, whew, and it's worn.
I
Worn by who? We talk. Is this a cowboy? Is this some like probably better smelling person that just wants to ride on a horse for a day? Like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot open to interpretation. Also, what was this guy's day job where he knew what that was smelling like? So
That's true. I mean, is there a whole underground world of like saddle eaters? Is that like a subcategory on some sort of like X-rated sites that
yeah,
I
yeah.
that I would have no knowledge of?
There's definitely a Pornhub category for
Yeah,
saddle stuff.
saddle eating. That is a really good one. Yeah,
It'd be
I think
bestiality, but so that's what I was insinuating.
yeah. Okay, so I feel like elegant, talk about I feel like you it's a little bit like what is that game where you like write in the words
Category.
Madlib?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking categories, but very
Oh,
similar.
categories. Yeah, or like categories.
Yeah. I mean, again, all jokes aside, yeah, I would just like you don't also have to like be at a place and like smell it and be like, oh, it smells like cherries. Like you don't have to be like nerdy about it. I think with most people, like if they're actual like wine fans, like they're not going to be dicks about it. Generally, they aren't.
Yeah.
Like generally, the people who know the most are the most like unassuming, and people who are like flexing and like being like, oh, I got this really nice bottle of red, like really good, isn't it? Like there's the ones who like they bought it from some place in Santa Barbara, from wherever they went to go wine tasting, and like the wine is probably fine, but they probably are hyping it for a lot more than.
Yeah. Well, I do think it is like one thing I will say like from my own experience, hanging out with you and you generously cracking many, many fantastic bottles of wine is it does add something when you have someone there who knows a little bit because it's like I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but like it's like watching I don't know, like if you were watching like a movie or something and someone was like telling you like, "Oh, like you see how they did that shot? Like they had to, use okay, that wasn't a
I
good
get what you're saying.
analogy."
Yeah, there's an analogy there, like, um, it's like when people listen to like when there's context. Anytime there's context, people
Yeah.
listen to an album that they know was like
When you read
recorded
the
in like
album liner notes
yeah.
and then you have
No,
a
like
better
people like listen
understanding
to like
of
an album where it's like, oh, this was recorded in a basement in a garage in Portland, and the guys died from an overdose afterwards. You're like, man, that album is sick. There's just I can feel the
there's
energy
a
in that.
rawness to
Yeah.
it.
There's just so much pain in the happy lyrics. So
uh
I think wine's the same where anything really like that you consume, whether it's like food or like I'm sure if you were to get like some like fantastic like several Michelin star meal, like just like if someone blinded you was like here serve it, you'd be like that's good. But if you were to go spend like $2,000 on that, you'd be like this is the best fucking meal ever. I'm not condoning that, but I think wine's the same where like the more you know about the where it's from or like who made it or the grape or like what's unique about where it's from and you actually like it and you like the wine, like it can add to it. It's like knowing having a friend who's like you meet someone for the first time, like they're kind of cool and you know their backstory and you're like, oh wow, that's actually way more impressive than I thought. And I think it just are tools and kind of gateways to help you enjoy it a little bit more. And like, I don't know, I don't think it's a bad thing. But if the only reason you like it are because of those things, and the wine doesn't actually taste good, or you don't think it tastes good, then like fuck that too.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
you touched on two things that I wanted to ask about before we wrap up here, but
Oh,
um,
this is we're recording this, so this was just a warm up. I'm ready for the real
this
heat. I'm
is
ready for the fire.
okay. You're ready for the real
Tough
episode now?
questions.
Should I really hit record
When do we
now,
get into
or
politics?
yeah? That always goes well. Um, uh, no, but so seriously, I wanted to ask, like, you kind of helped me realize that I love Syrahs, cool climate
Oh yeah.
Syrahs. That's like kind of my shit. You know, I love a Syrah.
That's hip too in the wine industry. Like if you
Oh,
see like if you'd have
are
walked
you
in and
telling me
someone
I'm
someone
hip,
was like have
basically?
their brand and you're like, hey, like, what do you drink? You're like, I just really like cool climate Syrah. They'd be like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but like, how can someone like discover their like favorite type of wine? Is it just like, do you just have to trial and error and be like, this is a Chardonnay, this is a Pinot, or are there any like little wine industry hacks to try to like find
Ooh,
the type of wine that you really like?
hacks. Okay, we turned this into a TED talk. Okay, that's fine. That's fine with me.
No, it's really it's really going to be more of like a 2-minute video that someone posts on like Twitter or 9gag or something.
I'm into that. Yeah, I mean, I think you should definitely step outside your box a little bit and not, the literal frenzy box, but also just like in general. Like there's a lot of things, like I like Chardonnay a lot, which is, yeah, I think when you first start getting into wine, you're like, Chardonnay, like my mom drinks that, or it's like
Yeah,
really oaky and buttery. And then you kind of get to it and you're like, oh, there's awesome wines. But then there's also like several different styles of awesome wines that they're all vary and they're all kind of unique in their own. Some are better from it's like a really hot day and you're at the beach and you're like, let's crush that. Or maybe you're having a super nice dinner and you're like, I actually really want that one. So there's I think just like a whole array
it's
of
like
different
music,
options.
kind of, where it's like two bands could both be punk rock and be very
Yeah,
like
their own flavor.
yeah, yeah,
I guess I would say just like definitely try a lot of different stuff because I think like once you learn more about it, just like anything, what any sort of like art form or industry or whatever, like things become more exciting the more you learn, the more you have to compare it to, and the more context you have. And I think there's a lot of like rules you kind of learn, like with anything up front. We're like, I don't drink Riesling because it's sweet, or I don't want that because it's too like sugary, or I get allergic to sulfites. Like none of that's the thing. So just
yeah,
don't pay attention to like that kind of stuff, and try to try stuff for yourself and think for yourself, man. Don't be a sheep, okay?
yeah. Which that's my general problem, which is like once I find something I like, I'm like, well, this is what I
Yeah,
like. Why would I try something new?
I
Like,
think
I
I think
found my
that's good.
lane.
That's good too. Like you want to make your own palate for sure. And you're like if you buy wine or you like end up drinking a lot of wine, like your palate in your wallet will thank you for like not just following what everyone else is doing. Like there's people that have bought a bunch of different like kind of like categories of wine before they got hip and before they got popular that they're like 4 times the price now because everyone else got on board. But 5 years ago, people were buying them for like $20 and now they're like $100. Like that can happen.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like what you like, but also it's gonna change. Like I don't, I buy some wine and it's like some of the stuff I bought from 5 years ago. I'm like, why did I buy that? I don't want
Yeah.
that. you know? And I'm
I
like,
have some
what? And
shirts
at the
from
time, I
five
was like,
years
this is
ago that.
super cool. And it's not even
Yeah.
like those wines are still good, but they're just not like what I'm into at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like
No.
being like you're like a junior, you're like a senior in high school, and you're like, oh, I bought this album when I was sixth grade.
Yeah.
Slaps, fucking slaps.
Still love that Trick Daddy album though. That shit's
Woo!
tight.
Good
That shit's
songs.
tight.
The single though, if you were around when that single came out, like it was worth it.
Okay. So all right, this is the last question because we're running out of time before my camera stops recording.
Do
But
you need a time limit? Like I'm a little bit upset that we just didn't leave this open.
I
It's
mean,
fine.
we could throw to a commercial and come back, but I don't think my producer is gonna like that. But no. So my last question is like, cheese. You talked about consuming. Like, do you need to eat cheese when you have wine? I personally love to have some cheese when I have wine.
Oh,
What
man,
are your general thoughts about cheese and wine?
I like. There's a lot of like again, they're like kind of classic combos. Like everyone's always like a charcuterie board and wine, which is like it's fine, but like cheese is not like the best pairing for wine. And often like if you're trying to like actually taste like really like if you're like, getting like really kind of like scientific about it, or like oh, I really want to taste all these nice bottles. Like sometimes like cheese can like kind of wreck your palate, but at the same time like cheese is way better than wine. and and like
You heard it
like
here.
I would,
Cheese is
if I
better
was
than wine.
I'm like, if it was like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and I was just like, be like, you know what? I'm chilling at my house. I'm just gonna make myself a giant cheese board of like 5 different types of cheeses, and I'm gonna eat 90% of it. That'd be like a little bit of a questionable decision. But if I have like a bottle of white wine next to me, like I'm sophisticated as fuck. So if anything, I feel like it's just an excuse to eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah. Hell
It's your
yeah.
beard. It's your beard for eating cheese. Is really what it
Yeah.
is. Like, this should really be a
Wine.
cheese podcast.
Well, yeah, the next episode is going to be us just discussing cheese. Well, I think my camera is going to stop recording soon, so we'll have to wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to add about wine? And if we get cut off, I'm sorry.
Did we talk about wine? No. Yeah, I don't know. I think it gets hyped up a lot. I think mostly like working with it, it's more about like the people and like there's like the different types of characters that you meet. There's so many different types to it. There's like people who make wine, people who drink wine, who sell it. There's a lot of different interesting people and kind of little mini industries, channels amongst it. And I think that's what finds it really fascinating. And at the end of the day, it's like, with this quarantine, I feel like not to get like sentimental, but with this quarantine, it's
No,
like,
let's do it. Should I turn the lights down a little bit, or?
yeah, turn the lights down. Yeah. This is no, but it's like, if you have like some cool bottles, you're really excited. I feel like I buy bottles. I'm like, oh, I'm excited, like have these with friends. Like when people come over, we can open them all together. It's a mutual thing. And now I'm just like, oh, I just have like bottles. Like, oh, whatever. I can get drunk
Yeah.
on that if I want. So they lose a little bit. I think wine and all any kind of consumable good loses a little bit of its magic. Like when you can't really like, use it with other people. So I like the application of wine. I like wine a lot, but I like the application of wine a lot more, which is like,
I like that though.
fun
Like that.
people are way more fun to hang out with, and really boring people are like slightly more bearable to hang out with.
Okay. Well, my camera just here. I can come back.
Can we
All
do
right.
like a post-credit thing? Like,
I
I feel kind of in my zone right now. I don't want to say that like I did okay, but
I feel like we killed it, but so wine is best enjoyed with friends, and I agree with that point. Like it's
oh god, yeah, it sounds terrible, but it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's obviously times like if you and you're sitting together, you and your best friend, like fresh time a bottle, like, that's always a fun time. But yeah, I think this might be a little more technical. This might be an after credit special sort of thing. But like,
Yeah.
when you hang out with people who like get really scientific about it, and like you'll open something like, oh, we're hanging out, and they'll be like, what's going on? Like, and it's cool to like investigate. But people take that as like where it's like that's the whole purpose of it. So be hanging out in a room, Megan and I with those people, and then we're just like, we hate all these people. They're all the worst.
Yeah.
And they're like not even talking about anything else. They're just like dissecting like every bottle that's open. And it's like no one stands in a room like listening to music and it's like, wait. You hear that B chord? No, it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off.
Yeah.
Like you don't like hang out with friends and analyze every like track. And this is mixed a little bit weird actually. I think if the treble is just up like I think that was recorded on like a VA86, so
I don't feel like the liner note matches with the bass chord on this.
Yeah. So like I think that there's like people that can take it to an extreme where like there's obviously like a educational and like like a kind of like a study kind of setting for that and a professional setting for that. But I think most of the time like don't let it be the forefront of the entertainment, or of the meeting. Have it more be like an accompaniment. Pair it with your good friends, all right? Good friends.
You heard it here. Wine should be paired with friends. Yeah.
And you can't hang with friends right now, so
yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for giving this wine insight, and we're looking forward to having you back for the next holiday candy breakdown. Your next level of expertise.
I thought we were maybe going to do like a trilogy podcast where like we could really, because listen, I've been dying to dig into Bad Boys 3, and like I don't know exactly when that's happening, but I'm ready to go right now. So just keep the camera rolling.
Yeah, I'll have to pause and watch Bad Boys 3, but all right. Well, thank you for all watching. We appreciate it. I know Zach would love it if you hit subscribe on this video, and until next time.